Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 6th. It's February. It's 2025. And I started making this video last night. I put up a video the other day, and then I took it down because I had footage of a Predator drone that I took with a P950. And I posted it saying, this is crazy. I got daytime footage of a seriously high-flying Predator drone flying over America. Unbelievable, no big deal. I couldn't believe it. I posted it, and somebody in the comment section said, dude, that is over a training base, a military training base where they test fly Predator drones. And I'm like, that's ridiculous, man. How would this guy know this at all? So I pulled up the metadata, and I took the coordinates and checked on the map. And what I thought was a town was apparently a military base. Didn't look like a regular military base to me. And I'm viewing it from super far away. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So it was kind of ironic. I put up a video saying I was wrong about the Black Hawk with having no crew members in it. That it was flown simply by AI. And I'm going to play that for you right now. But I was also wrong about the Predator drone, so I pulled the video down. That's what happened. It wasn't BitChute, it was me.
So I've spent the last 2 days driving out to an undisclosed location to meet up with an ex-Special Forces soldier that's a subscriber or follows my channels. I don't know if he subscribed. I didn't ask. But I've spoken with him a couple of other times. I think last year and 2 years prior to that. So I know him. I know of his character. And some of the things that he's told me have panned out. They're legit. You know, they weren't just his theories. Well, he told me I got something wrong, and I wanted to correct that. I said that the Black Hawk didn't have anybody in it at all. It was simply being flown by AI. That was wrong. There were 4 people in the Black Hawk, and there were 4 people rescued. That was originally posted by the mainstream, that 4 people were rescued and taken to the firehouse, and now I know why. They were flying that, they were doing training, that was legit, that's exactly what they were doing. And then all of a sudden, the entire chopper got taken over, and when they started going, I mean, they made a straight beeline at the airplane. The airplane couldn't get out of the way, and the Black Hawk couldn't be controlled. So they bailed out, as you're supposed to. They were rescued, brought to the fire department, and then that entire story where they were rescued got scrubbed. It went away. That's exactly what happened. And that makes sense now, because everything about the people they're presenting as the pilots makes no sense at all. One of the guys they're saying that was a pilot actually had eye stigmatisms, and he couldn't fly. He was just a crew chief. But they've got him listed as a pilot without his certification. The other guy was a pilot, and they're showing that. The female was a captain, but they're not showing any of her medical information. You know, the one who's, as soon as she died, all of her social media was scrubbed by her family. Because that's what happens when you find out somebody got killed on a helicopter. The first thing you do is go, hey, let's all log into her social media, because that will be easy, logging into somebody else's social media and literally wiping it in real time. So I figured I'd tell you that. Just to say that, I had to drive for 2 days. But you know what? It's worth it. And here's the other thing. They're going to do something at the Super Bowl, and I got a funny feeling it's going to be an attack by somebody flying a plane. I just got that in my head. If that isn't how it goes, it is what it is, but there will be an event, because this entire crash thing, Washington, Philly, really? Super Bowl? I mean, here we go. Here we go. Be ready. And if you got tickets to the Super Bowl, I'd watch it from a bar room, far away from the stadium. It's not worth it. Unless to you it is. I don't know. I don't know. But if you're listening and you've got tickets, you've been warned. And if you go and something happens, you were warned.
Okay, so the video you just saw I made 3 days ago, okay? I'm just showing you so you can see that I said there was no crew on the Black Hawk, but now it makes complete and utter sense. It makes complete and total sense. And I'm not going to show you a Predator drone because the one Predator drone I got perfect footage of was apparently over a training base. From where I could see, it looked exactly like a town. And if you look it up, it looks exactly like a town. But there still are drones all over the East Coast, all the way down to Florida still. But hey, they're just hobbyists. They're just enthusiasts, and they're all FAA recommended. So it's all good. We can't tell you what they're doing, why they're there, and the mainstream's not talking about them anything at all because we've moved on. We've moved on. Look at the moves these guys have made. The first of this year, boom, car runs over somebody in Louisiana. The Super Bowl's in Louisiana. The Super Bowl's being held in the largest dome, I think, on Earth. It's at least the largest dome in America. That dome needs to come down. So this could all work out completely perfect. And the funny thing is you don't know what Donald Trump will be there. Will it be the 6-foot tall one? Or is it the 6'3" one? Or the one with the orange face? And why in the world, for the first president to ever go to a Super Bowl publicly after he's been attempted assassination, even though he has no scarring whatsoever at all, and if anything happens to him, it'll be Iran. If something happens to him or any of his people at the Super Bowl, he's left instructions for Iran. It'll be obliterated. Iran needs to be wiped out. So they're going to do this. And there's so many more things they need to do. Look at how many events we've had so far, and it's only the 6th of February. It's insane. It's completely and totally insane. But on the crew of the Black Hawk, I want you to see this.
The rabbit hole. Have you ever heard of feminism to the third power? This was posted December 19th, 2017. Are you a man? Do you notice anyone in this picture? This is Army Captain 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗆𝗍. Now I know the media was very hesitant to release her name. They said it was due to her family's request. But check this out. Army withholds name of black helicopter crew in DC crash. 2 others identified. They had no problem identifying these 2 quick. It says here the 3rd crew member on the helicopter was a female pilot with 500 hours of flying experience. Okay, so this is where it gets really fishy for me, because they kept saying that the other 2 were pilots. Hold on a second. Who is pilot Ryan O'Hara, crew chief on Black Hawk? Former instructor of crew chief killed on Black Hawk in DC crash speaks. The only problem is, Ryan O'Hara was never a pilot. O'Hara listed in the Army immediately after high school, starting as a mechanic before becoming a crew chief due to eye stigmatism. He was unable to pursue a career as a pilot. Why were they saying he was a pilot? This is Ryan O'Hara's information under the FFA. Notice how there's no medical information. He has to have a certificate. It's required to be a pilot. He was a mechanic. Now the other gentleman, Andrew Austin Reeves, he was a pilot. If you look here, he has his medical there. He has his certificate. He has all of his credentials here. So I went and looked up 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗆𝗍. I found this interesting. She has no medical information available. Isn't that interesting? Donald Trump said it was a DEI hire. We don't have information, that's for sure, but things are getting crazy. The FAA turned away 1,000 job applicants because of its DEI rules, despite staff shortages, lawsuit claims. Here it says the military aircraft was flying above 300 feet, which it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be at 200 feet to avoid commercial jets arriving at the Virginia airport, and it was at least a half a mile off course when it collided with an American Airlines flight. They said the family didn't want her name out there, but yet her name is out there now, and all of her social media has been scrubbed, even members of her family. So I started digging. She was a White House aide with Biden. That's her in the middle. I found this interesting as well. How many times can you hit the paper? March 29th, 2011, she was homeschooled, and she made the news. She was also there to walk Ralph Lauren when he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Joe Biden. Interesting. She's only 28 years old, and she was a captain already. She was doing pretty good for herself. She owned a $567,000 home. But the crazy part about it, she didn't live there. The occupants were Virginia Field and Robert C. Vincent. But the other crazy part is Robert Vincent passed away on October 3rd, 2017. And if you ask Grok, all the info that Grok has on her was published after the crash. That's really interesting. Here are the publication dates. So what do we have here? When I checked out this photo, this says it's 71% AI generated. 29% chance that this picture is real. So I find it interesting that you can go back 50 years with Donald Trump and accusations against him, and Kavanaugh accusations against him, but we're not allowed to know anything about this woman. Everything was scrubbed. That should raise questions, and the fact that it wasn't put out there right off the bat, but yet they put the two other men out there. Now, I've never been a pilot, but it struck me as odd, and it seemed like 500 hours of flying experience was not that much, especially for someone who was named Captain. She was the one flying the Black Hawk. That's what Grok said. She was the pilot in command. Check out what this pilot said about her 500 hours of flight time.
Now let's talk about the 500 hours briefly. 500 hours of flight time is so low, I wouldn't turn anybody loose in any of my airplanes at 500 hours with passengers for hire, or flying anywhere near a major airport, or anywhere else for that matter. I think, quite frankly, 500 hours is just barely adequate to get yourself up and back down safely. I really do. And the reason why I know that is because I was a 500-hour pilot at one time. And the time between when I got my pilot license and when I had my first major scare happens in that window, right? So somewhere between getting your pilot license and between 500 and 1,000 hours, something really sketchy is probably going to happen.
So there you go. All the pictures, all the information, it sounds like Sandy ... Hook all over again, doesn't it? Where everything is completely contrived. All of her information was uploaded the 1st of February. I mean, it's crazy. You got an F-35 falling out of the sky, the plane that Elon hates. You've got a Black Hawk that is literally doing drills at an active civilian airport where they're flying under landing planes, and then all of a sudden the helicopter just takes off, the crew bails, they get saved, it gets reported, it disappears, and the Black Hawk laces the airplane, killing a bunch of people. And then you've got a literal airplane coming out of the sky like a missile. That wasn't an airplane falling. That thing looked like a shooting star coming down to Earth. You know what I'm saying? And the explosion, everything else. And then you've got it's not easy making videos with 18-wheelers rolling by. Then you've got another airline kerfuffle where a plane puts a guy in the hospital with head injuries and hip injuries. And then you have one more where a plane from India hits an American Airlines. And then now we've got them coming out saying AI could do a much better job. Do you see what they're doing? Iran included. They're completely decimating everything that's in the way of the New World Order. And that includes driving, flying, everything. Everyone's going to be on a universal high income or a universal basic income, and your entire life is going to be run on a social credit system. I won't be there for that. Hopefully you won't either, because I'm not accepting any of this stuff whatsoever at all. I'm trying to fight it tooth and nail, but it's amazing what gets traction on YouTube and other platforms. It's all YouTubers talking about other YouTubers. Alpha males that I did 10 years in prison, so I'm going to sell you a core. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Nobody wants to hear the truth whatsoever at all. At all. And then you've got Trump hunting anti-Semites. But here's a funny thing about anti-Semites. Check this out. This is AI.
There was a very funny thing where, I'm sure you guys know that Israel, does ridiculous propaganda. And there was an AI Twitter bot that I guess through machine learning decided to become anti-Israel autonomously. An automated social media profile that typically spread pro-Israel propaganda on X has recently gone rogue, turning against the accounts it once promoted. FactFinder AI, developed to harness the power of artificial intelligence to promote Israel's talking points during its war on Gaza, started criticizing pro-Israel accounts, including the Israeli government. The account went as far as denying some acts committed by Hamas in its 7 October 2023 attack on Israel, and said Israeli soldiers were white colonizers in apartheid Israel. It's learning! It's the singularity! We're approaching Skynet. Fake.
How crazy is that? AI comes out and actually says what we've been saying about the entire thing about Hamas. Nobody could attack Israel like that. I've shown you over and over. Go back and watch the entire documentary made by people that live in the area, people that were actually IDF soldiers talking about Hamas and that entire thing. You know what I'm saying? This is all by design. And Iran being taken out, you know, Trump signed enough executive orders, they could probably do without him right now and have somebody else step in. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Because Trump's old. Trump could retire right now, go off to Epstein Island and be good to go, and they could claim he got killed at that place. But I can see an airplane or a missile or something terrible happening at the Super Bowl. Look what's already happened, and where did it start first? Directly in Louisiana. They tried to take Louisiana out with Katrina. It didn't work completely, so they're going to take it out now. These guys are not messing around. Trump is here, man. It's amazing to me. Trump is here. He is just taking the whole thing down no matter what. It's hot. Well, it's dry, so that's why I keep messing with my eyebrows. At any rate, many fish. Keith put a video up this morning, and Keith, he's worse than me. He keeps his phone in these little pouches that him and his wife make, where no signal gets out. It makes it really tough to get a hold of him, but I called him this morning, so check out some of this video.
Fish, 6th of February 2025. Pray you're well. I was not going to do anything with the Super Bowl this year. I had no intention on going there, and then this showed up. Donald Trump is going to attend the Super Bowl in New Orleans. First time a president will attend a Super Bowl in person while holding the title of Commander-in-Chief. And it's the Eagles and the Chiefs. And then I saw this press conference, and I'll let you listen to what he has to say here.
If things went the way they should have, this would have been over long ago, but it's not over.
How close do you think Iran is to developing nuclear weapons?
I think they're close. They're too close. But again, you could go back 4 years. I would have said they would have had it during this intervening period. But they're pretty close, Peter.
And why is Iran happy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran. I've left instructions.
So essentially what he's saying is Iran can't have a bomb that they've been on the verge of having for 20 plus years. But if they try to take him out or anyone in his circle, they have orders. He has left instructions, like COG, continuity of government, in case something like that happens, no matter who is the perpetrator, right? That's basically what he said. So to me, this seems like a setup. It really does. He's now going to fly to the Super Bowl. And when I show you on the maps of how these plane crashes and everything fit into all this, it's pretty interesting to say the least. So let me get the maps open and I will be right back. Now, I have shown you many, many times this line that goes from the Washington Monument Obelisk to the Bunker Hill Boston Obelisk, and then continues all the way halfway around the world through England, London, down through Europe, all the way down through the 7 churches in Asia to Mount Hermon, Israel, Lebanon, Syria, primarily Mount Hermon. I've shown that to you. Now,
and one other thing, it went through Asheville. It goes directly through Asheville, North Carolina as well. If you want to watch the rest of this, I'll leave a link below, obviously, but crazy things are going on. I mean, they don't even do it subtly. Every single day an airplane falls out of the sky, and all the best airplanes, all the most reliable. F-35, Learjets, American airliners. It's absolutely insane, but what they're doing is cleansing the land. They have to burn it all down, just like they showed us right here at the closing ceremonies of the 2024 Olympics. Remember the Olympics that they started with absolute blasphemy of the Last Supper? You know what I mean? They got to burn it all down so they can build it all up again. And of course, they were showing us little green men. And I'm almost positive, I'm almost positive the drones were so they could pull the alien deception. But sadly, the alien deception wouldn't work because there was too many of us that absolutely understood what was going on. But at the end of the ritual, at the end of the ceremony for the Olympics, they showed the entire world being burned down and then being built up again. And the only other ceremony that's larger than these platforms is the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. You see what I'm saying? They've shown us all of their plans right in plain sight. They didn't sugarcoat it. They didn't hide it at all because they don't care anymore. They completely... Jesus, Mary and Joseph, hold on. They aren't being subtle. There's two huge ravens. See them right there? Right there. And that old guy just walked under him with his dog and didn't even notice him. At any rate, it's getting loud. All right, so suddenly 3 different people that knew me from 2 different YouTube channels just showed up. And I was kind of being a dick and I backed up. But, real quick, this dude is all over the place right now, claiming that on the Easter of 2026, Jesus is returning. And he's telling us that the Sphinx, a star of Regulus, will show up right over the Sphinx. And that's how we'll know Jesus is returning. And I left a comment saying, well, no man knows the day or time. And that is true. The Bible says that. The Bible absolutely tells us that no man knows the day or time at all except the Most High. But keep this in mind. Remember this old chestnut that I used to talk about all the time? The Lucifer telescope? It's called the Lucifer telescope, and they named it that. And this is a massive telescope that the Vatican has in the United States. And strangely enough, it's in Graham County, Arizona. Come on, man. Graham County, Arizona. And it was built on a mesa that the Native Americans used to use as a portal. Elders would come and go. Star people would come and go. And, you know, being the United States, and we're so cool to Native Americans, this was sacred land to them, and we stole it back from them, gave it to the Vatican, and they built this massive telescope. And of course, they're just using it to map the stars. They don't have to map the stars. The stars haven't moved since the day God placed them in the firmament. Period. Okay? So everything they're telling you is a complete and utter lie. But what I think they're not telling you, first of all, the Lucifer telescope isn't like any other telescope. The Lucifer is a binocular. And, oh, look how dirty my hands are. That's crazy. And it's like a pair of binoculars that looks into outer space. And I guarantee they're using it to look straight at heaven. Somehow. Because when you've got Satan telling you how to build this, maybe there's a cheat code. But here's the deal. These guys have been watching and waiting, and from all the things they're doing right this solitary second, I got a funny feeling that things are going to get really hectic. But this guy claiming he knows that Jesus is coming back on Easter of 2026, that's crazy. That's, you know, whatever. Are they going to make it happen? That's a whole different story. At any rate, Richie from Boston, I got to try to upload this. At any rate, I am out.